Yesterday, on December 2nd, a group of nonpartisan senators introduced a $908 billion stimulus package. So in today's video, I want to talk about what exactly the stimulus package is, what the chances of the stimulus package is of being passed, and what my thoughts are on whether or not we will actually end up seeing any sort of coronavirus relief by the end of 2020. So let's get started. Now, it has been a very long time since I made a stimulus package video, and really that was very intentional on my part. You see, I was making very consistent stimulus package videos over the summer, and the reason was because there was a lot of news coming out about stimulus packages, about the EIDL program, about the PPP program. But as we came to the end of summer and into the beginning of fall, I felt like the news was starting to dwindle down. And I felt like as we went into the end of 2020, the chances of us seeing a second stimulus package were becoming smaller and smaller. And once I felt like the chances of us getting a second stimulus package were basically slim to none, I told myself I would stop making videos on this topic. The reason is because I didn't want to give my viewers false hope. I didn't want to give my viewers of this channel, you guys who I appreciate, a false sense that they would be seeing government money whenever the reality of the situation was they most likely weren't going to. So because of that, I told myself I would not make another stimulus package video until I felt like we were relatively close to seeing a second stimulus package. And that brings us to today's video. So we are heading into the end of the year really quickly. I mean, the end of 2020 will be here in just a few short weeks. And with the end of 2020 comes the end of a slew of different government programs that were implemented through the CARES Act, including mortgage relief, eviction bans, unemployment, and so much more. There are a ton of government programs and relief programs that were implemented in the spring of 2020 that are now coming to an end in just a few weeks. And with that, there will inevitably be a lot of people who struggle to make ends meet with the end of so many different government programs. And that brings us to present day. So on December 1st, a group of nonpartisan senators introduced a $908 billion stimulus package. This stimulus package was fairly all-encompassing, and it has a variety of different programs that benefit a wide variety of people. The package includes about $288 billion being allocated to small business, including paycheck protection programs, potential EIDL, and so much more. It allocates $160 billion to state and local governments. There is also $180 billion being allocated to unemployment benefits. So you guys remember with the CARES Act, there was a $600 per week federal unemployment boost, meaning that if you were unemployed because of COVID-19, you not only got your state level unemployment benefit, but you also got a additional $600 per week unemployment benefit as well from the federal government. With this $908 billion stimulus package that was just introduced yesterday, the benefit isn't as high as $600, but it is still a weekly benefit being paid out at $300 per week through the federal government. There is also various funding to different government organizations, including transportation, as well as schools, and giving schools the equipment and resources that they need in order to teach their students in a COVID-19 environment. Now, don't get me wrong, $908 billion is a ton of money, but whenever you look at it in relation to some of the previous stimulus packages that we've seen this year, it's only about half the size as the CARES Act. In fact, it's less than half the size. This one is valued at $908 billion. The CARES Act, which was passed in March of 2020, was valued at $2.2 trillion, so more than twice the amount of this stimulus package that is currently being discussed. But now begs the question of what are the chances of this $908 billion stimulus package being passed, and when can you expect to receive your stimulus check? Now, the unfortunate reality of the situation is I think the likelihood of us seeing anything, even this $908 billion stimulus package, being passed this year in 2020 is incredibly unlikely. I think that the chances are almost slim to none. The reason is because these things take way too long. The process of passing a bill is ridiculously inefficient, and the time takes extremely long regardless of how many people agree or disagree on the bill being passed. Additionally, I think the likelihood of this bill being passed even after 2020 is a bit unlikely. The fact is that there are still government leaders that are disagreeing on a number of key figures even within this $908 billion stimulus package. And the fact that this bill is nonpartisan is kind of irrelevant whenever it comes to these key votes. There are still a number of people that are disagreeing on the contents that are within the stimulus package. And because of that, that will stonewall this bill enough to make it so that it probably won't be passed anytime soon. But this $908 billion stimulus package aside, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, at least in regards to stimulus packages. And that is the Joe Biden presidency. Now, regardless of how you feel about Joe Biden, his policies, or the fact that he is the president-elect, that's irrelevant. But the fact is that President-elect Joe Biden has already said that COVID-19 relief and stimulus stimulus packages are a top priority for him and his administration, and that they are going to be working to have something passed and something being administered to the American people within 100 days of his presidency. Now, the contents of what these stimulus packages are going to look like are really quite honestly up in the air, and a big factor of the details of the stimulus packages will be the Georgia runoff election, which is happening at the beginning of January. But there is a lot of talk that unemployment will come back in some way, shape, or form, that there will be some sort of stimulus check. There's also a lot of talk of industry-specific relief, meaning that there will be relief for restaurant industry specifically, or the entertainment industry specifically, or the travel industry specifically, and that it will be more industry-specific and less kind of all-encompassing like the CARES Act was. But the fact is that there are still a ton of details up in the air, and even though there was a $908 billion stimulus package introduced yesterday, I think that the likelihood of us seeing that being passed in its current form is highly unlikely, and I think the chances of us seeing any sort of stimulus bill being passed in 2020 is even less likely. The fact is, we probably will not see any substantial change until the new year in 2021, but I do think that once 2021 comes, once the holidays are over, I think we will start seeing some really real progress. So to answer the question at the beginning of the video, do I think we will receive something in 2020? No, I do not think that we will. But do I think that we'll receive something in 2021? And I think that we most likely will receive something in 2021. So if you're somebody that's waiting for a stimulus check, if you're waiting on unemployment, if you're waiting for some of these government benefits, I do think that your time is coming in the first quarter of 2021. But you guys, at the end of the day, this is all speculation. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. Nobody knows exactly what's going to be passed, and none of us will know until something is passed. But I will like to say that my predictions with stimulus content has been pretty accurate. I said back in July that I didn't think we would receive anything at all for the rest of 2020, and I was correct in that. But I do hope that I'm correct in this prediction as well, and I do hope that we see something in the Q1 of 2021. But I would love to hear your thoughts, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps me, it helps YouTube algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. And hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.